Welcome to United Report, your ultimate source for everything Manchester United. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, we've got you covered with all the updates, transfers, and match highlights you need. If you're a true Red Devil, this is your home. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive into the world of United together. Paul Pogba has hit the headlines again after his recent social media activity caused tongues to wag over a potential return to Manchester United. The Frenchman is unable to play until March after testing positive for the banned substance DHEA. Pogba left Juventus in November, just over 2 years after departing Old Trafford for the second time in June 2022. And any thoughts of signing him for a third time, even on a free transfer, would be disastrous for United on so many levels. Firstly, now aged 31 and past his prime, there would be serious doubts over his ability to compete at the highest level. United need more players who are fit enough to cover in midfield, with the Reds' glaring physical weaknesses being exposed in a seemingly endless amount of games this season. Most Premier League teams are fitter than Ruben Amorim's side, with the 3-1 defeat to Brighton a perfect example of this. Pogba would take time to get back up to speed, having not played a competitive game since September 3rd, 2023, for Juventus against Empoli. Waiting for him to get there is a luxury United cannot afford to have right now. There is also his Galactico status, something United should be looking to avoid after going down that damaging route under Ed Woodward. Pogba, along with several other big money deals, have arguably helped to put the Reds in their current PSR position of needing to sell to buy. Ineos have promised big changes to the first team at M16, but what message would it send if they signed a big name like Pogba? Even if his wages were not too high, it would still show the club has not learnt from previous mistakes. No one can deny Pogba's ability. France's 2018 World Cup win saw him play a starring role alongside Kylian Mbappe. But what would he bring a team in 2025? The negatives far outweigh the positives, and United must not get swept up by any clamours to bring him back under any circumstances. Former Lecce captain Fabio Lucioni has revealed he would have encouraged Patrick Dorgu to sign for Manchester United this month. Dorgu, 20, is closing in on a blockbuster move to Old Trafford after a reported £31.4 million fee was agreed. The versatile wingback is set to become the first signing of the Ruben Amorim era. He has made 57 appearances for Lecce since joining them from Danish side Nordsjælland in 2022 and has been capped 4 times by Denmark. Dorgu is recognised as one of the most talented defenders in Serie A, and United have moved fast to secure his services amid interest from Chelsea and Napoli. Dorgu is anticipated to sign a 5-year contract at United and would strengthen that left-hand side, with Diogo Dalot having played in that position over the last couple of weeks. It's an area that Amorim has wanted to bolster, and it's looking like he has got his man, although a deal has not yet been completed. From Dorgu's point of view, it's a move that is right for him, according to his former teammate Fabio Lucioni, who has reacted to the defender's proposed switch to United. He told TMW I would have already bought him a plane ticket. I say this in a positive sense, because he is a boy who has made an important journey in the youth sector. He has shown that he can compete in a higher level of football than the one you experience in Lecce, so it's right that he goes. Meanwhile, Dorgu's former boss in Denmark has offered some advice to Amorim on how to get the best out of his new addition. FC Nordsjælland technical director Alexander Riget spoke to Sky Sports, having brought Dorgu to the club many years ago. He said Patrick is definitely coachable. He is a very good listener. He is not a guy who speaks a lot. He is quite silent, and you have to be a little patient when you are asking questions because he is a thinker. So he needs to get started before he is going to say something. Casemiro has shared a message on social media as speculation over his Manchester United future grows ahead of Monday's transfer deadline. Recent reports have claimed that Roma have identified the midfielder as a potential replacement for Leandro Paredes, who has been linked with a move to Boca Juniors in recent days. Just as with the Premier League, Serie A clubs also have until Monday to wrap up their transfer dealings for the month. The Brazilian has also been linked with a move to Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr in the past, where former Real Madrid teammate and United legend Cristiano Ronaldo currently plays. As speculation grows over what comes next for Casemiro, the 32-year-old has posted a photo on his Instagram stories of him being involved in United's most recent training session. The picture shows him smiling alongside Victor Lindelof and Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro has made 22 appearances across all competitions for the Reds this season. However, he has been left on the bench for United's last 4 league matches and has not played since the 2-0 defeat at home to Newcastle on December 30th. United boss Ruben Amorim has since revealed that the 5-time Champions League winner can no longer cope with the physical demands of English football's top flight. "Sometimes it's a lot of that," he said. "It's also a player's moment. We understand that Casemiro has other things nowadays. The intelligence he has, understanding the game, understanding where the ball is going to fall. But we're in a league that I can see, even in European competitions, the difference in intensity is big. And so, I feel that this team also needs players with a very high intensity. And sometimes we don't have that, and sometimes that difference in characteristic can lead one player or another to play." He added, "Even the fact that the group has a certain characteristic as a group. I needed some players in certain positions with a slightly different pace. But we all know the quality Casemiro has, and everything he won. And so, I have nothing to say about that. It's just a choice. Wayne Rooney says Marcus Rashford's Manchester United exile is embarrassing for the out-of-favour striker. Rashford has been frozen out by United boss Ruben Amorim over his failure to meet the expected standards in training and was not part of the squad that flew to Bucharest for tonight's Europa League tie against FCSB. The 27-year-old has not played for United since their 2-1 win over Victoria Plzeň in the Europa League on December 12th and is trying to secure a move away before Monday's transfer deadline. Former United captain Rooney revealed he visited United's training ground with his children at the weekend and said it was sad to see Rashford training alone, while the rest of the squad were in London for the game against Fulham. "I went into Carrington on Sunday to take my kids to game day, and Marcus was out on the training pitch with the fitness coach," said Rooney. "But he was right over towards where the parents were walking past for the kids' games. I looked at him thinking how embarrassing it must be for him as parent walk past." Rooney also admitted he has spoken to his former teammate on occasion, urging him to leave Old Trafford for the good of his career. He added, "I was surprised when this started over 2 years ago, but now I'm not. I've spoken to Marcus a couple of times, and I've given him my thoughts and feelings that he needs to leave the club because whatever is going on in his life, and at United, he's not the same. For him to have a fresh start, he needs to leave the club. The fact that your manager is coming out and saying that you're not training right is crazy." Another former United skipper, Roy Keane, said Rashford should be ashamed that Amorim is calling him up publicly over his perceived poor training performances. "I can't get involved in the conversation. I still can't understand at any level whatever's going on with players leaving. Months left on contracts. A player who doesn't train properly," said Keane. "I don't understand it. You might as well leave me out of this conversation. Especially if you think he wants to move, which is more of a reason to train properly so when you go to a new club, you're up to speed, and when you leave the club, at least you showed a decent attitude. He must be ashamed." Gary Neville, who also captained United, said Amorim's public calling out of Rashford is part of a wider plan to find a club willing to take the forward on loan and pay a hefty chunk of his £315,000 a week wages. "I know that Ruben Amorim is honest," said Neville. "I do believe that he wants the money back for Marcus. He said that about him training, to probably shine a light on him and get him out of the club. They're probably asking Marcus to take a wage cut to leave the club. They don't want to subsidise the wages, because there's no way a new club is going to pay him those wages." Manchester United will be hoping to wrap up their place in the last 16 of the Europa League when they face FCSB at the National Arena in their final league phase outing tonight. United are in control of their own destiny ahead of their 8th and final league phase fixture, knowing that a victory will guarantee a safe passage through to the round of 16. The Reds beat Rangers 2-1 in dramatic fashion at Old Trafford last week. A draw in Romania may be enough to see Ruben Amorim's side avoid next month's playoff round. For the first time under Amorim, United will be targeting a third successive victory after building on the win over Rangers with a 1-0 triumph over Fulham at Craven Cottage on Sunday. Regarding the team news, Amorim has named a 21-man squad for the trip to Bucharest. Luke Shaw has not been deemed fit enough to be included, and Marcus Rashford has been left out once again. Our United writers have had their say on how they would like to see Amorim set his team up. Altay Bayindir had a good game against Rangers last week and merited a start at Fulham. His turnaround since denying Martin Odegaard from the penalty spot has secured him more playing time, and he will likely be in goal next week against Leicester in the FA Cup. Lenny Yoro can come back in for some minor rotation in defence. Throwing Casemiro in is like throwing a dog a bone. United need some nous to secure a top 8 finish, and Casemiro is the most garlanded player in the squad. In a squad that struggles to score goals, United's 3 best forwards are needed every time they play. Rasmus Højlund, despite his fine European record, is not after his performance at Fulham. Sunday's win at Fulham should ease any fears United had of being dragged into a relegation battle, and the focus should be on this competition now. It is their only possible route into the Champions League for next season. That means a strong time here, and maybe some changes on Sunday instead. Yoro did the press conference last night, but so did Harry Maguire last week, and he didn't start. It makes sense to bring Yoro in for De Ligt as the only defensive change, however. I would return to Ahmad at wing-back, with Diogo Dalot on the left. Kobbie Mainoo can get a start alongside Manuel Ugarte in midfield, making space for Fernandes and Alejandro Garnacho to play the more advanced roles. The real issue is who plays at centre-forward out of Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. Højlund's confidence looks shot, but neither striker looks a goal threat. Zirkzee can get the nod to take Højlund out of the firing line. After being given a first Europa League opportunity of the season against Rangers last week, Bayindir deserves another shot in goal. United will have a short turnaround between tonight's game and Sunday's clash with Crystal Palace, meaning Andre Onana could benefit from another breather. De Ligt has not finished either of the last 2 matches, meaning it makes sense for Yoro to take his place. The Frenchman should start in the back 3 next to Maguire and Lisandro Martinez. Fernandes should be deployed higher up the pitch after starting in one of the number 8 positions at Fulham. The prospect of him being pushed into one of the 2 number 10 berths opens up a window of opportunity for Mainoo to return and start.